The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was filled with tension. Delegates from 100 species sat in silence, their eyes fixed on the tall human woman standing at the center. Captain Harim Park's voice was calm, but her words carried the quiet strength that made every alien present uneasy. The peace talks between humanity and the Kethari Dominion had failed, and everyone knew why. The Dominion had attacked 3 human colonies, killed millions, and demanded Earth surrender its outer systems. Humanity had come to talk peace, not to beg. The Kethari ambassador, a tall creature covered in blue scales, leaned forward with a sneer. "You humans are too emotional," it said. "You fight over pride, not logic. Accept your place and we will let your people live." Harim stared back without blinking. "We offered peace. You answered with war. You think we are emotional? You will see what emotion means when you push humans too far." Around her, the human delegation stayed silent. Among them was Commander Daehyun Kim, a quiet man known for his calm under pressure. He had fought in the first battles against the Dominion. His hands were folded behind his back, but his eyes were cold. He knew what Harim's words meant. Humanity had been patient long enough. If this failed, Earth would no longer talk. Earth would act. The council moderator, an ancient being of light, floated above them. "Peace must prevail," it said in a tired voice. "If you walk away from this table, humanity will face consequences." Harim turned to face it. "Consequences?" she said softly. "You mean like the ones we faced when our colonies burned? When our children died screaming in space? We already face consequences. Now others will." The council chamber erupted into shouts and whispers. Some tried to calm the storm. Others accused humanity of arrogance. Harim said nothing more. She gathered her documents, gave a silent nod to her team, and walked out. Daehyun followed, his steps steady but his mind racing. He knew the council had just lost the last chance for peace. Back on the transport ship, the human delegation sat in silence. The stars outside were calm, but inside the ship there was a storm. Jia Lee, a young diplomat, looked nervous. "Captain, what happens now?" she asked quietly. Harim looked at her for a long moment. "Now," she said, "we stopped talking." When the ship reached Earth orbit, it was clear that the planet had already been preparing. Fleets of warships floated in formation. Massive carriers, cruisers, and destroyers shimmered with fresh armor. Humanity had been patient, but they had not been idle. Operation Dawn Shield was already active. Engineers, soldiers, and scientists had been working day and night. The human spirit had turned grief into strength. Daehyun walked across the bridge of the command ship, Daehan. The lights glowed dim blue and the hum of reactors filled the air. "Status?" he asked the crew. "Fleet readiness at 96%, said Lieutenant Sun Wuhan. "Outer colonies have begun evacuation of civilians. All defense lines are in position." Daehyun nodded. "Good. We'll protect them this time." He looked at the star map showing the Dominion systems. Red marks glowed where human lives had been lost. His fists tightened. He had seen those flames with his own eyes. Harim arrived a few minutes later. She stood beside him, her uniform spotless, her face unreadable. "We will wait for orders from command," she said. "What do you think command will decide?" Daehyun asked. Harim gave a small, bitter smile. "You know what they will decide. We gave them every chance. Now they will see what happens when humanity fights not for conquest, but for survival." Far across the stars in the Kethari High Council chamber, the news of the failed talks reached the Dominion leaders. Laughter echoed in the hall. They saw humans as weak, scattered, and emotional. They believed Earth was bluffing. "They cannot face the Dominion," one of them said. "Their ships are new, their unity fragile. We will crush them quickly." But in their arrogance, they did not understand humanity. Humans had fought each other for centuries, survived wars, hunger, and extinction. The galaxy thought them unpredictable. In truth, they were determined. When humans fought for peace and were denied, they did not beg. They built. They adapted. And then they struck back. 3 days after the peace talks collapsed, the human fleets began to move. Massive engines burned blue fire as thousands of ships aligned into attack formations. From orbit, the fleet looked like a wave of silver stretching across the void. Civilians watched from Earth's surface with silent pride and fear. Everyone knew what this meant. There would be no more peace, not until justice was served. On the Daehan, Harim stood before the large window of the command deck. "Open channel to all ships," she ordered. Sunwoo nodded and tapped the console. Channel open. Harim's voice filled every ship, every control room, every pilot's helmet. This is Captain Harim Park. The peace talks have failed. The Council calls us reckless. The Dominion calls us emotional. They are both right. We fight because we care. We fight because we must. Every name lost in those colonies, every child who never saw the sun again, this is for them. Humanity does not start wars. But when war comes, we finish it. Silence followed, heavy and strong. Then across the fleet, cheers erupted. Pilots saluted. Soldiers raised their fists. Humanity was no longer divided by borders or flags. They were one. In the deep black of space, the engines of the Dayan ignited. The human fleet surged forward, cutting through the void like a blade. Operation Dawn Shield had begun. In the Council's great hall, the alien leaders watched the human broadcast in stunned silence. Some were afraid. Some were angry. But none could deny what they saw. Humanity's answer had begun, and it was shaking the galaxy to its core. Harim watched the stars ahead, her expression calm but her heart steady. She thought of the colonies, of the voices lost in the fire. She whispered quietly to herself, "This is for them." Dae-hyun stood beside her, his hand resting on the console. "For all of them," he said softly. And as the fleet vanished into the dark, the first war cry of humanity echoed through the stars. The human fleet moved through the dark stretches of space like a living storm. Every ship, from the massive carriers to the small fighter craft, was filled with a single purpose: defend humanity and deliver justice. Captain Harim Park stood on the command deck of the Daehan, her gaze fixed on the holographic map floating before her. Each red dot represented a Dominion system, and each dot carried the memory of pain, loss, and the determination to survive. Commander Dae-hyun Kim entered the bridge quietly, carrying a tablet with intelligence reports. He looked at the fleet positions and the Dominion defenses they would soon face. "Sensors detect multiple patrol fleets ahead," he said. "They are likely expecting a direct attack." Harim nodded. "Then we will give them something they do not expect." She tapped the console, sending orders to the fleet. Humans were not the largest force in the galaxy, but they were unpredictable, quick, and adaptive. Their fleets moved with precision, each ship trained for multiple roles. The Dominion would think they could anticipate human moves. They were wrong. In the smaller fighter cockpits, young pilots like Hyejin Seo and Sunho Park gripped their controls. They had trained for years, never dreaming they would fly into the Dominion's heart so soon. Hyejin looked at her co-pilot, trying to mask the fear in her voice. "Remember what Captain said. We fight for survival. We fight for all those who can't." Sunho nodded, his eyes bright. "Then we don't fail." Not this time. The first encounter came unexpectedly. A Dominion patrol fleet, larger than the human fleet, appeared near the outer rim of the Trivac sector. Their ships were sleek, dangerous, and bristling with weapons. The Dominion commander, a cruel being named Thark, assumed humanity would retreat, but the humans did not retreat. Instead, they divided their fleet into unpredictable attack groups, drawing the Dominion ships into traps with precision coordination that was almost uncanny. Harim watched as fighters launched in rapid waves, flanking the Dominion vessels from unexpected angles. Every maneuver was calculated, but every pilot had the freedom to act instinctively. The Dominion ships fired relentlessly, but human shields absorbed most of the attacks. When a Dominion cruiser tried to break through, it was met by a squadron of human interceptors led by Hyejin. Her craft dove into the fray, firing volleys that disabled the cruiser's engines. Explosions bloomed in the void, lighting the darkness for a brief moment. In the command center of the Daehan, Dae-hyun monitored the battle. He coordinated fleet movements and relayed critical orders. Every victory and loss was measured, every move calculated. Humans had fought wars on Earth for centuries, and though the galaxy saw them as primitive, that experience made them formidable in ways the Dominion did not understand. Meanwhile, on the Dominion side, confusion spread. Thark had expected humans to flee or surrender. Instead, the humans moved with unity and intelligence that made no sense to him. He had underestimated their ability to adapt. He barked orders, but his crew struggled to keep up with the fluid tactics of the human forces. Every Dominion victory was met with new strategies, new formations, and new courage from the humans. Back in the human fleet, Harim and Dae-hyun watched the battle unfold. "They thought fear would make us pause," Harim said softly. "They were wrong. Humans fight hardest when we protect what we love." Daehyun nodded. Every system we liberate now strengthens our position. The Dominion will remember that. As the battle raged, G.A. Lee, the young diplomat, worked tirelessly to manage communications. She sent messages to colonies and stations under attack, offering instructions and hope. Her voice carried across subspace channels, steady and reassuring. All civilians follow the evacuation protocols. Your safety is our priority. We will reach you. Even as war tore across the stars, the human spirit remained unbroken. Families were saved, colonies were defended, and soldiers fought not for conquest but for survival. Every victory, no matter how small, became a story of courage, a story that would be remembered in human history for generations. Hours turned into days. The Dominion had underestimated humanity at every level. Ships that were meant to intimidate fell to smaller, faster human vessels. Supply lines were cut and communication arrays destroyed. Thark could feel the grip of control slipping. His arrogance, his belief in Dominion superiority was failing before his eyes. In a small briefing room on the Dihan, Ha-Rim met with her top officers. Sun Wuhan pointed to the latest reports. Our losses are minimal. Dominion morale is dropping. Civilians are secure. We are achieving objectives faster than projected. Ha-Rim looked at each of them, her expression serious. This is just the beginning. The Dominion thought this would be an easy war. They will fight back harder, more viciously. But we are ready. Humanity is not just a species. We are a force that grows stronger with every challenge. Every loss we've endured, every attack we've faced has brought us here, and we will not fail. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. The human fleet pressed forward, moving from system to system, liberating colonies and striking at Dominion positions. Messages of hope and resistance spread through subspace. Humans who had fled returned, ready to help defend. Scientists repaired damaged ships. Engineers improved weapon systems, and soldiers prepared for the next battle. Every citizen of Earth, every human alive in the galaxy, felt the pulse of a united species. In the Dominion High Command, Thark's fury grew. Reports of human victories reached him continuously. His officers whispered in fear. They are too smart, one said. They anticipate every move, Thark roared. They are humans. They are weak. We will crush them with numbers, with strength. But he knew deep down that this was no ordinary species. The humans were united, adaptive, and relentless. Their resolve was unshakable. He had misjudged them, and that mistake could cost the Dominion dearly. In the midst of the battle, Ha-Rim received a report from Hijin. Crusader Squad has disabled the Dominion's main weapon platform in the Attract system. Civilians are safe, and our losses are minimal. Ha-Rim smiled faintly. Good. Continue to the next target. We have no time to waste. As the day ended, the human fleet regrouped in a safe zone near a friendly star system. Soldiers, pilots, and crews took a moment to rest. They ate, repaired, and shared stories of bravery. Despite exhaustion, the energy in the fleet was palpable. They had seen what humanity could do when pushed too far. They had begun to answer the Dominion's arrogance with action. Daehyun and Ha-Rim stood together on the observation deck. They watched the stars, knowing the next battles would be harder. But they also knew that humanity's unity, courage, and intelligence had changed the course of the war. What the Dominion had thought was a simple conflict had become a test of survival against a species they had underestimated. Tomorrow, Ha-Rim said quietly, we move further into Dominion territory. We fight not because we want to, but because we must. Humanity will not be silent. Humanity will not be defeated. Daehyun nodded, his eyes fixed on the endless void ahead. We will show them what it means to push humans too far. And as the human fleet prepared for the next strike, the galaxy began to understand a truth it had ignored for too long. When humans are cornered, when peace fails and justice demands action, their answer is swift, unstoppable, and unforgettable. The human fleet continued its push deeper into Dominion space, moving through sectors that had once been peaceful, but were now marked by human determination and defiance. Captain Ha-Rim Park stood on the bridge of the Dihan, her eyes scanning the holographic map. Each Dominion stronghold they approached was heavily fortified, but the humans had grown stronger with every engagement. The memory of burned colonies and lost lives had hardened them. Commander Daehyun Kim leaned over her shoulder. Scanners show multiple Dominion fleets preparing ambushes near the Zephyr system, he said. They are trying to stop us before we reach their inner territories. Ha-Rim studied the data. They do not understand us, she said softly. They think fear will slow us. It never has and it never will. In the smaller fighter ships, pilots like Hee-jin Seo and Sun-ho Park prepared for another wave of combat. They had faced overwhelming odds before and survived. Every pilot knew their role. Every team moved as one. The human fleet was a single organism, adaptive and relentless. As they entered the Zephyr sector, the Dominion forces launched their first coordinated counterattack. Waves of fighters, frigates, and cruisers moved to encircle the human fleet. Thark had learned from his previous mistakes and tried to anticipate humanity's unpredictable tactics. He believed strength and numbers would win this battle. But humans were not just numbers. Arim had devised a plan that used their speed, intelligence, and teamwork. "Divide into 3 groups," she ordered. Group 1 feints left, Group 2 moves straight, Group 3 sweeps behind. "Hit them where they least expect it." Daehyun relayed the commands. The fleet shifted with precision, smaller ships weaving between massive cruisers, fighters darting in and out of enemy formations. The Dominion fleets were confused, unable to respond to the rapid changes in formation. Every human ship played a role in the strategy, from the carriers protecting civilians to the agile interceptors disrupting enemy attacks. Hee-jin and Sun-ho's squadron found themselves in the center of the fight. Their target was a Dominion command frigate that coordinated attacks through an advanced sensor network. "Take it down and the rest of their fleet will be blind," Hee-jin said, determination in her voice. The squadron moved with deadly precision. They dodged energy blasts, maneuvered through tight spaces between larger ships, and launched attacks from angles that the Dominion crew never anticipated. Sun-ho fired the final volley that breached the frigate's shield, causing explosions to ripple through the vessel. The Dominion coordination faltered immediately. The rest of the fleet became disorganized, vulnerable to human counterattacks. Back on the Daehan, Hae-rim and Daehyun observed the results of the strike. "They underestimated the humans again," Ha-rim said. "They cannot comprehend what unity and determination can do." As the battle progressed, Jia Li managed communication channels, relaying evacuation instructions to colonists trapped on nearby planets. She remained calm under pressure, her words steady and clear. "All civilians proceed to designated safe zones," she instructed. "Ships will escort you to secure locations. Follow orders and trust humanity to protect you." The Dominion forces began retreating, but Thark refused to give up. He sent his most advanced warship, a massive dreadnought, to crush the human fleet's rear. Its weapons could devastate entire squadrons in moments. Ha-rim studied the threat carefully. "We cannot confront it head-on," she said. "Prepare a pincer maneuver. Use their overconfidence against them." Daehyun coordinated with the fleet squadrons. Groups moved around the dreadnought, attacking from multiple directions. Smaller human fighters created diversions, drawing the dreadnought's fire while larger ships targeted its engines and weapon systems. Explosions lit the void as human tactics outmatched brute force. The dreadnought, once a symbol of Dominion superiority, was now burning debris drifting in space. Despite the victory, the human fleet suffered losses. Pilots, crew members, and support teams paid the price for each success. Ha-rim visited the injured, offered words of encouragement, and reminded everyone of the purpose behind their fight. "Every life lost strengthens our resolve," she told them. "We fight for those who cannot fight. We do not falter." Across Dominion space, word of the human victories spread quickly. Systems that had believed the Dominion invincible now whispered of human cunning and bravery. Fear began to spread, replacing the arrogance that had defined the Dominion for centuries. Thark was furious, realizing that the humans were more than they had ever imagined. The human fleet paused near a neutral system to resupply and regroup. Engineers worked around the clock repairing ships and improving weapon systems. Soldiers trained, practiced maneuvers, and prepared for the battles ahead. Civilians assisted wherever they could, providing logistics, medical aid, and communication support. Humanity was a species united in purpose, and every citizen contributed to the war effort. Ha-rim gathered her officers in the briefing room. "The Dominion thought they could intimidate us. They thought we would retreat when faced with overwhelming force. They were wrong. Every system we liberate, every ship we defeat, strengthens humanity. Tomorrow we advance further. We press the fight into the heart of their territory." Daehyun added, "The Dominion will adapt, but so will we. They are learning our tactics, but we will learn theirs. They cannot break human unity." Outside the fleet, stars stretched endlessly. Every dot of light was a reminder of the humans they were protecting, the families they were defending, and the vengeance they were delivering for lost colonies. Harim thought of those lives, of the voices lost to fire and destruction. She whispered softly, "We fight for them, always for them." The fleet moved forward once again, deeper into Dominion space. The humans knew the road ahead was dangerous, but they also knew that retreat was not an option. The Dominion had underestimated their resilience, their intelligence, and their will to survive. Every victory, no matter how small, reinforced the truth that humanity's answer to aggression was swift, decisive, and unyielding. In the Dominion High Command, Thark's rage reached new heights. His officers warned him of the humans' relentless advance. "They are unstoppable," one said. "They fight not for greed but for survival. Their determination cannot be measured by strength alone," Thark bellowed. "They are only humans. They are small, weak. We will show them the Dominion's might." But even as he spoke, he knew the truth. Humans had grown stronger with every battle. They had learned from their losses and adapted. They were united in purpose and fearless in execution. The galaxy had seen glimpses of humanity's power, and now the Dominion would experience it fully. As night fell across the observation deck of the Daehan, Harim and Daehyun stood together watching the stars. The human fleet was ready for the challenges ahead. Every crew member, pilot, and soldier understood the stakes and the mission. Humanity's answer had begun, and it would not be denied. It was a force that would not stop until the Dominion learned a lesson they would never forget. Harim's voice was quiet but firm. "We move forward tomorrow. We fight not because we want to, but because we must, and when they finally understand, it will be too late." Daehyun nodded, his gaze steady. "Humanity's answer will echo through the galaxy. Let them watch and tremble, for this is only the beginning." And with that, the fleet prepared for the next wave of battles, their courage and determination stronger than ever, ready to continue the fight that would shake the galaxy to its core. The human fleet advanced relentlessly into Dominion territory, moving like a shadow that no enemy could fully grasp. Captain Harim Park stood on the bridge of the Daehan, her eyes focused on the displays showing the approaching enemy systems. Each star they passed was a reminder of the colonies they were defending, and the people who had been lost. The human spirit, wounded but unbroken, drove the fleet forward. Commander Daehyun Kim entered carrying the latest intelligence. "Dominion High Command is mobilizing the Cathari fleets in a defensive perimeter around the central star systems," he reported. "They are preparing a counter-offensive unlike any we have faced before." Harim's expression remained calm. "Then we will meet them head-on, but not with fear. We fight with purpose, with unity, and with the strength they cannot comprehend. Prepare the fleet for immediate engagement." The smaller human fighters, led by Hyojin Seo and Sanho Park, received their orders with precision. Every pilot understood the mission: infiltrate Dominion defenses, disable their systems, and protect the fleet. Fear had no place here, only focus and determination. Hyojin adjusted her helmet, feeling the weight of responsibility but also the certainty of their purpose. "We fight for those who cannot fight. We will not fail." The Dominion counter-offensive was fierce. Fleets of cruisers, destroyers, and fighters surged forward to meet the humans. Thark, furious and desperate, ordered them to crush the human advance before it reached the heart of their territory. He underestimated one thing: humans did not rely on brute strength alone. They relied on creativity, adaptability, and unity. Harim divided the fleet into multiple task forces, each with a specific objective. Smaller groups created diversions, drawing enemy fire and attention, while larger formations executed precision strikes on key Dominion installations. The humans moved with the coordination of a single organism, each ship, each pilot acting in concert with the others. Hyojin's squadron darted through the chaos, targeting sensor arrays and communications hubs. The Dominion crews, skilled and experienced, fired relentlessly, but the humans' unpredictability made them difficult to hit. Sunho maneuvered his craft alongside Hyojin's, covering her as she disabled a critical communications relay. Explosions rippled through the Dominion network, and the enemy's coordination began to falter. On the Daehan, Harim and Daehyun watched the battle unfold. Reports came in rapidly. Human tactics were disrupting Dominion formations, and their morale was slipping. "They cannot maintain order," Harim said quietly. "The humans are stronger than they know. As the engagement escalated, GLE worked tirelessly to coordinate rescue and support operations. Colonists in the sector were guided to evacuation points and escorted by human ships. "Follow the routes exactly," she instructed over the comms. "Safety is priority one. We will not abandon you." Her calm, clear voice reassured civilians who had feared the worst. Despite heavy resistance, the human fleet pressed forward. Every victory, every liberated system strengthened morale and confidence. Dominion forces, expecting humans to falter under pressure, were shocked by the relentless determination they faced. The humans' adaptive strategies, their ability to think and act as one, gave them an edge that brute force could not overcome. Thark, furious at the unexpected effectiveness of the human assault, ordered his most advanced warships to concentrate fire on the human command vessels. His hope was to eliminate leadership and scatter the fleet. But the humans anticipated this move. Harem had prepared for such a situation, splitting command protocols and dispersing leadership functions across multiple vessels. The Dominion attack caused damage but failed to cripple human command. In a daring maneuver, Hyejin's squadron disabled the primary weapon systems of the Dominion dreadnoughts. Explosions lit the void as energy beams faltered and ships drifted uncontrolled. Smaller human interceptors moved in to finish the job, using the dreadnoughts' confusion against them. Within hours, the Dominion's central defense fleet was decimated, leaving key star systems vulnerable. Harem convened a council on the Dihan. "This is our moment," she said. "The Dominion will regroup, but they are already weakened. We strike decisively now, liberate the central systems, and show the galaxy that humanity cannot be ignored." Daehyun agreed. "Their numbers are great, but their morale is broken. Every victory has strengthened ours. The humans fight with more than weapons. They fight with unity, courage, and purpose." As the fleet prepared for the next offensive, civilians on liberated worlds celebrated cautiously, knowing that the war was far from over but encouraged by the human victories. Engineers repaired damaged stations, medics treated the wounded, and families reunited. Hope spread, carried on every human ship and whispered in every liberated city. Meanwhile, Thark's frustration reached a new level. Reports of human successes filled him with rage. "These humans defy logic," one of his officers said nervously. "They anticipate every move, adapt faster than we can respond. They are not just fighters. They are a force unlike any we have faced." Thark slammed his claws on the control panel. "They are humans. They are weak, yet they persist. We will not allow this to continue. Launch the remaining fleets and destroy every human vessel in the central systems." But the humans were ready. Harem had predicted this escalation and positioned the fleet strategically. Every move, every attack had been calculated to maximize effectiveness and minimize losses. The human fleet had become more than a fighting force. It had become a symbol of resilience and unbreakable will. Harem and Daehyun watched as their fleet executed the final strike. Dominion ships were disabled, their command network shattered, and their supply lines severed. The humans had achieved what many had thought impossible. Every victory further reinforced the lesson that had been ignored for too long. Humanity was not weak. It was not irrational, and it was not to be underestimated. As the battle ended and the human fleet regrouped, Harem looked out at the stars. The victory had been hard won, but the message had been delivered. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's strength, and the Dominion had learned that arrogance and cruelty were not enough to conquer a species that fought with unity and purpose. Daehyun stood beside her. "They will try again," he said. "But we have shown them what it means to push humans too far." Harem nodded. "And they will remember it for the rest of their history. Humanity will not back down. We fight not for conquest, but for justice, for survival, and for every life they tried to take." The human fleet rested briefly in the aftermath, preparing for the final push into the Dominion's central territories. Engineers repaired ships, medics cared for the injured, and soldiers planned strategies for the battles yet to come. Each member of the fleet understood their role, their responsibility, and their shared purpose. As night fell across the observation deck of the Daehyun, Harem whispered quietly, "Tomorrow we strike the heart of their empire. Humanity's answer will reach its peak, and the galaxy will remember that we never beg, we never surrender, and we never forget." Daehyun placed a hand on her shoulder. "For every life lost, for every voice silenced, for every colony burned, we answer. Humanity's voice is strong, and it will not be ignored." And with that, the human fleet moved forward once more, united, fearless, and ready to deliver the final message to the Dominion. Peace talks may fail, but humanity's answer will always be unstoppable. The human fleet approached the heart of the Dominion Empire, a region of stars and planets long thought untouchable. Captain Harim Park stood on the bridge of the Dihan, her hands gripping the rail as she surveyed the massive armada awaiting them. The Dominion had gathered every ship they could, hoping to end humanity's advance once and for all. But the humans were ready. They had learned, adapted, and grown stronger with every battle. They did not fear the challenge ahead. Commander Dae-hyun Kim joined her, holding a data pad with the latest intelligence. "They have concentrated their entire central fleet here," he said. "It will be their final stand. They will fight to the last ship." Harim's eyes narrowed. "Then we will show them what humanity is capable of when pushed too far. Every life lost, every colony destroyed, every innocent killed, we fight for them now." The smaller fighters, led by Hee-jin Seo and Sun-ho Park, readied themselves. They had faced overwhelming odds before, but this was the greatest test of all. Hee-jin adjusted her helmet, feeling both fear and determination. "We will not fail. Not now, not ever," she said. Sun-ho nodded, gripping his controls tightly. The first engagement was brutal. Dominion cruisers unleashed torrents of energy, and massive dreadnoughts moved to crush the human fleet. Explosions lit the void as ships collided and fired. The humans fought with skill, precision, and courage, moving in ways the Dominion could not predict. Every human ship knew its role, every pilot moved with purpose, and every soldier on board understood the stakes. Harim coordinated attacks with calm authority. She divided the fleet into multiple strike groups, each targeting a critical Dominion ship or station. Smaller human ships created diversions while larger vessels moved in for decisive blows. The Dominion forces, though strong, were disorganized and overwhelmed by the humans' unity and adaptability. Hee-jin's squadron targeted a massive Dominion command dreadnought. Its shields were strong, its weapons powerful, but the humans were smarter. They attacked from multiple angles, dodging energy beams and striking weak points. Sun-ho fired the final salvo that breached the dreadnought's hull, causing a massive explosion that lit the darkness. Dominion forces faltered, their coordination broken. On the Daehan, Harim watched every move. Reports came in quickly. Dominion morale was collapsing, and their losses were catastrophic. "They underestimated us from the start," she said quietly. "They thought humanity could be intimidated or broken. They were wrong." Commander Dae-hyun nodded. "We are not fighting for conquest. We are fighting for justice, for survival, and for every life they tried to destroy. That is why we will not fail." Jia Lee worked tirelessly to manage communications and civilian evacuations. Planets in the central Dominion systems were being evacuated safely thanks to her coordination. She reassured frightened civilians, guiding them through chaos with calm and precision. "Follow the routes exactly," she said. "You are safe. Humanity protects its own." The Dominion's desperation grew. Thark, furious at the humans' continued victories, ordered a mass assault. Thousands of ships surged forward, attempting to crush the human fleet in a single strike. But the humans anticipated this move. Harim had positioned their forces strategically, using the enemy's aggression against them. Diversions, ambushes, and counterattacks tore through the Dominion lines. As the battle reached its peak, Harim directed a concentrated attack on the Dominion's central command station. This station controlled the majority of the Empire's fleets and logistics. Disabling it would cripple their ability to continue fighting effectively. Human ships moved in with precision, cutting through defenses and bypassing traps. Explosions rocked the command station and its systems went dark. The Dominion fleet lost coordination entirely. The remaining Dominion forces attempted to regroup, but human ships pursued them relentlessly. Each victory was decisive, each move calculated. Even as their numbers dwindled, human morale was at its peak. Every pilot, every crew member, every soldier knew the stakes and embraced the challenge. On one of the liberated planets, civilians watched the human fleet's broadcast. Captain Harim's voice filled their screens. "The peace talks have failed and war has come to us. We do not fight because we want to, but because we must. Humanity does not beg. We do not surrender. And we do not forget. Today we fight for every life lost. Today humanity answers." Cheers erupted across the colonies. People cried, hugged, and celebrated the courage of their defenders. Humanity's unity had become more than a military force, it was a symbol of hope and resilience. Back in the battle, Heejin and Sunho led their squadron in a final push against remaining Dominion warships. They moved with skill and bravery, striking down enemy ships that had terrorized human colonies for years. Explosions lit the void as the Dominion forces collapsed under the relentless human assault. The galaxy was witnessing a species that refused to be subdued. Thark, trapped on his command ship, realized the battle was lost. His fleets were shattered, his command structures destroyed, and his forces demoralized. He had underestimated the humans' intelligence, adaptability, and unity. The arrogance of the Dominion had been their undoing. Harim addressed her officers on the Dahan. This is our victory, but not because of weapons alone. It is our unity, our determination, and our refusal to bow to injustice. Humanity has shown the galaxy that we cannot be ignored. Peace may have failed, but our answer has been clear and decisive. Commander Dae-hyun looked at the fleet outside. Ships were regrouping, ready for any last resistance, but the Dominion's power had been broken. They will remember this, he said. Humanity's answer has shaken them to their core. As the battle ended, the human fleet formed a protective perimeter around the central systems. Civilians returned to their homes, engineers rebuilt infrastructure, and soldiers continued to secure areas to ensure lasting peace. Humanity's efforts were not for revenge alone. They were for survival, justice, and hope. Harim stood on the observation deck of the Dahan, watching the stars that had once seemed distant and unreachable. She thought of the colonies that had burned, the lives that had been lost, and the victories that had been won. Humanity had faced the impossible and emerged stronger, united and respected across the galaxy. Dae-hyun joined her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "We have answered them," he said. "The galaxy knows now that humanity does not bow. We fight, we endure, and we survive. That is who we are." Harim nodded. "And they will never forget it." Peace talks failed, but humanity's answer will echo forever. We will continue to protect our people, our colonies, and our future. Humanity will not falter. As the human fleet moved to secure the central Dominion systems, their victory was complete. The galaxy had witnessed the strength, courage, and unity of a species that refused to be subdued. Humanity had answered aggression with precision, intelligence, and determination. Their message was clear. Peace may fail, but when provoked, humanity's response is unstoppable, unyielding, and unforgettable. And in the silence of space, as the human fleet drifted among the liberated systems, Captain Harim Park whispered, "This is for every life they tried to take. This is humanity's answer." The stars seemed to shine a little brighter that night, as if acknowledging the force that had risen to defend its own and shake the galaxy to its core.